Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. Yay! Our house guests of the day are Tahir P and K Moore. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Yay! All right. So welcome to today's spoiler. I also want to thank all of our super chatters from yesterday. We also could not do the show without you, and super chat is a fantastic way to support this channel. We really appreciate it. So Jody Cortez, Rachel McClung, Isaac Songquist, Bruce Mollenhoff, Julie Morris, S. Dean, Valerie W., Janine Hanberger, Maricela Castellanos, and Vajra. Thank you all so much. And today we already have super chats from Anita Starr and Jody Cortez. So thank you both. You're amazing and wonderful. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about what's been going on. So when we left off yesterday, BB freaking tipped them off about the triple eviction. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So they watched some videos or the same video from Dr. Will more than once, I guess. I don't know. And basically he told them in so many words, that more than one person will be leaving this week, more than two. And he was telling them, you got to think 3 steps ahead. So they're putting the pieces together and realizing that it's probably going to be some sort of triple eviction this week. So it's just super frustrating because I was so looking forward to seeing their reactions when they found out on Thursday that it was going to be triple, and now it's going to be tainted, right? They already know that something is coming, so it's really annoying. But following that video reveal, there was a lot of speculation about how this week is going to play out because they're not sure exactly what's going on. They don't know that it's going to be a 2-hour triple eviction on Thursday. They were thinking maybe they were going to have the first eviction like last night and then a double on Thursday. Nope. But it's super annoying that production ruined the surprise like that. But at the very least, it encouraged them to have some panicked game talk, and we saw some more campaigning from Kevin and David. It's unlikely that campaigning will change anything, but at least we got something going on the feeds, right? Because it was pretty boring for the last couple days. So if you guys want like the immediate fallout from like the flurry, or not the fallout, but the immediate like flurry of game talks, make sure you check out yesterday's spoiler because I talked about that there. But let's pick up where we left off yesterday. So Danny and Tyler chatting in the photo bedroom. This is a let's cover our asses conversation initiated by Danny. Danny's trying to make sure that she's good with everyone because she thinks that they're about to go into like an early week eviction or whatever. So Danny's like, what the hell are we going to do if it's a freaking double? That's a direct quote. So she says, like, obviously I know what we're going to do because she's got to keep up the impression that, you know, they're all supposed to be targeting David if it's, you know, for next week, keeping the committee together. But she says, like, what if someone uses the veto? Then what? So Tyler says, well, we'd have to put up a solid pawn that we would all agree not to vote out, like Memphis? Sure. Tyler says he's sticking to the 6 because he has no choice. I don't see Tyler sticking to the 6 if he wins HOH, especially knowing that it's going to be triple. Like, Tyler would definitely be making a big move, right? So Danny says that she's kind of scared that some people within the 6 are going to try and take shots at each other. They're all going to be looking at you. So they both agree, like, no one says anything anymore. Like, the alliance is not communicating like it used to. And I'm just getting flashbacks to, like, the first few weeks when everyone was like, it's so weird. Like, nobody is saying anything. There's no game talk. Like, what? Isn't this All-Stars? So we're kind of, like, reverting back to that. But they BS each other some more and say that they're not targeting each other. Honestly, I think Danny probably would go after Christmas before Tyler at this point, but I think, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Tyler seems to want Nicole out and then Danny. So they're not technically each other's first targets at this moment, but they're definitely, they're still high on each other's lists. So then they touch base on this week's vote, and Tyler's like, "So we're voting out Kevin? Like, what do you think about that? What are you thinking?" And Danny says, "I don't want to vote out Kevin, but Cody is making this like a non-negotiable thing. So what am I supposed to do about that?" So Tyler's like, "Well, they're both the same to me." They both voted me out, which is true. They did both vote him out, but they're not both the same to him. Tyler has got something going on with David. They are close. So Tyler definitely wants David to stay and target Nicole and Danny moving forward. So Danny says, "Personally, I feel like David is coming after me more than Kevin is, for sure." So Danny asks, "Who do you think would put me up on the block, or like would put both of us up, not including David and Kevin?" So basically, who in the committee or Enzo do you think would put me and possibly you up on the block? And Tyler says, I don't know, probably like Christmas and Memphis. So yeah, like Christmas would go after Danny, but not Tyler. So Danny's like, "Be honest. How close are you with Christmas?" And Tyler says, "We're not as close as everyone thinks we are." Yeah, they're closer. They have a final two deal. But Tyler says that Christmas talks to everybody. They don't have something special going on here. So anyway, Danny says, "From looks alone, I feel like you guys are really close." Danny also thinks that Christmas and Memphis are beyond close, for sure. Tyler thinks that they have a final two. Yeah, Memphis has set himself up with a final two with a bunch of people. And I talked about in yesterday's spoiler, Christmas had her little like monologue with the camera, and she's got a crap ton of final two deals as well. Or at least ones that she's working on. So Danny asks Tyler, "Who is your final two?" And Tyler's like, "It's you by default because I don't have one." Oh my God. That is the lie detector test determined that is a huge lie. So Danny's like, "You're a liar." Like she's laughing and saying, like, "You're a liar." Tyler says, "No, like I don't have a final two this season because last time I had like 9 of them and it effed me up. Like it really messed me up with the jury votes." He's got a ton this time too. Come on. So then Danny's like, "Well, do you think that Cody and Nicole have a final two?" And Tyler's like, "I don't know." Yeah, they do. I think everybody should be seeing that at this point. I think everybody should have seen that when they saw who was on the cast this season. I mean, really. But anyway, a little later, Kevin pulls Cody aside to chat in the lounge because he figures, like, I'm going to need Cody's help on this if I have any chance of staying. So Kevin says, "The difference between me and David is I literally have to put all my chips on the table right now." He says, "I have to adhere to what I offer you." This is something that he's been saying to everybody. Like, I don't want to just offer everybody safety because then obviously I can't follow through on that. So he's trying to offer up things that he can follow through on. He's saying, like, I just want to see if I can stay another week. I'll basically be a lame duck because he's telling everybody that, like, you can put me up next week and I won't be upset about it. So that is something that he can say to everyone. So he tells Cody, "I want to offer you a truce. I will not come after you." And he says, "Maybe, on your end, you could consider letting the house decide what they want to do with the vote this week." Just the fact that he's got to like ask Cody to just be neutral about this whole thing is like ridiculous, new school BS. But anyway, Kevin says, if they want me to go, then I'm cool with that. But like, if you could just kind of like step back and let them decide, that'd be great. So Cody's like, "I think it could go either way at this point." That's a lie. He says people are pissed at David for taking the $10,000 in the POV competition. So he says, "I think that's fair. Like I can, just let them figure it out." So Kevin says, I really want to stay here. I would never pass up on the opportunity to have safety. So he's like, again, bringing up David going for the money, and Kevin was still trying to win the power veto. And he hopes that this cast will respect that gameplay. Oh, okay. So Kevin's like, I'm asking you if you can let them decide. And Cody says, we had a really genuine conversation the other day. I feel really good about it. And he basically says, like, yeah, I'm down for that. I would be cool with like taking a step back and letting other people decide. Not really, though. Cody is definitely letting people know what he wants to happen this week, and that is for Kevin to leave. So Kevin says, if you're willing to offer that neutrality, I will not put you on the block during this whole like sped up situation that we think is going to happen. So he says, again, like, you can put me up if you win HOH again. I wouldn't be mad about it. And Cody says, I respect that. So Kevin is really trying. He's really working hard to stay, but this vote has been locked for days now, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change. So that really sucks, but I respect Kevin for still putting in the effort and trying. So meanwhile, we've got Tyler and Enzo chatting up in the HOH room, and they are ready to clear some people out of here. They're saying this is the calm before the storm. It's going to get really crazy. And Enzo says, yo, if I win HOH, I'm making a big move, yo. There's not really much of a choice now, right? You kind of have to make like a big move at this point. Unless he goes for like David. But he hasn't been telling anybody what he wants to do. He's just saying, like, just respect what I do. I'm not going to F up any of our games, yo. I feel like he would go after, like, Danny and or Nicole. I don't know which one he would target first, but I think he would go for one of them. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he would change it up. It would be interesting to see. But then again, I don't know. My faith in Enzo actually making a big move was really shooketh during his first HOH when he totally bitched out. But anyway, Tyler says that Danny is starting to really sense that people are coming after her now. She is panicking. She keeps pulling people into rooms to talk. Tyler's like, this is like the first time that Danny had a one-on-one conversation with me in like 2 weeks. So like a game one. So he knows that she's nervous. And Enzo says, I'm done with her, yo. I don't tell her an inkling of what I want to do. I don't trust her for shit. And Enzo says, you know what? I might have to use David as a pawn if I win HOH because he got the $10,000 in the veto. He hasn't really been winning anything else. So like I need him to do something for me. Oh my God. So is part of Enzo's big move to put up David as a pawn, which might just result in David leaving? Like, that's so lame. But Tyler says, yeah, David would not be a good pawn because people will just vote him out. And then, like, that's a waste of your HOH. Yes. So then they discuss how close Danny and Nicole are to Cody. Plus, they feel that Danny and Nicole know too much about their games from like the Slick Six and all the other million alliances that they've been in together. So they agree. Gotta clip Danny and Nicole, and that will help them keep Cody close to them. But honestly, like, wouldn't it be better to just take out Cody, who's a huge threat? Like, I know they're like BFFs or whatever, but like, wouldn't you rather take out Cody and have a better shot at actually winning? That makes more sense to me, but they don't seem to even be considering that at all. So yeah, Tyler is saying, this is my boot list. He wants Kevin out, then Nicole, and then Danny. I think it's really interesting that he wants Nicole out before Danny. I thought for sure that it would be the other way around. But he says, like, at that point, we're half the house. There's only 6 people left. We're going to be half the house. Me, you, and Cody. And if you look at who else is left, David and Memphis are going to want to target each other. He feels like Christmas is not going to target them. Okay. So then Cody joins them eventually. And they're talking about Kevin's campaigning. They all really respect how hard he's campaigning to stay. But Cody says, Kevin is trying to play up that he's some weak-ass player. But he's not. He says Kevin just got put in a house with a bunch of solid competitors, brush off your shoulder. So he hasn't been able to win competitions, but he knows the game. He gets it. David is clueless. So Enzo says this better be a 6-0 vote for Kevin to go. And he keeps saying this. I keep hearing him say this over and over again, and I'm wondering more and more if he's going to throw a hinky vote and try and pin it on Danny and Nicole just for a little extra insurance that people will want to target them. But I don't know, because I don't know if he would want to risk it this late in the game when it takes so few votes to make something happen. Because, like, imagine he did do that and then, like, there was some plan to flip, and then he would be real upset. So I don't know that he would do that this late in the game, but he keeps bringing it up. So anyway, Cody says Kevin's got to go. He understands this game better than David. Plus, he got so much information about us from Davon. Davon told him everything she knew before she left. So they don't feel good about that. So Cody says, I'm not going to be neutral at all. David is lost. He is playing a game with sharks, and he is just a guppy. But he says, like, I feel horrible for Kevin because he's fighting really hard to be here, and the guy that's staying is the one that took $10,000 while he's up on the block. Yo, stay pressed about it. But anyway, Cody says that he has no idea what David would do if he wins HOH. He's kind of a wild card. So Tyler's like, I don't think we have to worry because he thinks that David's going to go after Danny, which I think there's a very good chance that that's the case. And Enzo and Cody are like, yeah, he could put up like Danny along with Memphis because, they don't have a great relationship. I don't know that David is going after Memphis at this point. It seems more like Danny and Nicole to me, but I don't know. All right. Meanwhile, Nicole and Christmas are playing backgammon in the key bedroom, and Nicole was like, so if it's like a double eviction and I'm up on the block, like, you would use the veto on me, right? And she said that she would do the same for Christmas, and Christmas is like, oh, yeah. I don't think that Christmas would save Nicole with the veto in that situation. No freaking way. And in fact, later, Christmas was talking to Memphis and telling him about this conversation, and she was freaking laughing about it. Like, there's no way that she would use the veto on Nicole. So Nicole's like, you want Kevin to go this week, right? And Christmas says, yeah. And she says, I mean, that's what Cody wants, and he's the HOH. I don't know why that would change just because David went for the money. I'm so sick of them saying that they have to do what the HOH wants. It's so ridiculous. I can't believe that this is an all-star season and these are the conversations that we're hearing. It's terrible. Okay. So then Nicole says, yeah, I'm on the same page. Just making sure. Okay. So then Kevin, continuing on the campaign trail, he's trying real hard. And he's telling people, I just want one more week. If I win HOH, I won't put you up on the block. I mean, he's saying that to a lot of people. But he's also saying, if you win HOH, you can put me up and I won't be salty about it. So Memphis is straight up with Kevin. He says, right now, I'm not voting for you to stay. And he says, I don't think you're personally coming after me, but you are a bigger threat in this game than David. David is a lost fish in this pond. They're really bringing out a lot of comparisons here for David this week. What's the term for that? It's not is it a metaphor or is it the other one? I don't know, but whatever. My high school English has gone out the door. So Nicole, however, is showing some interest in keeping Kevin. The big question is this genuine interest? I think it is, but like, she's never going to flip without Cody's approval. So yeah, when she was talking to Kevin, she says, you're telling me that you wouldn't put me up on the block, and I'm hearing that David would. So for me, like, I need to figure out how we can get you these votes. Like, you're going to need 4 people to stay. And it can't just be me and Danny. Like, you're clearly better for me and Danny's games, or my whatever. You're better for our games, but it can't just be the two of us. Like, we need two other people. So Nicole is asking, can you promise two more people safety? And Kevin's like, yeah. He's just trying to figure out who the right people are to promise that safety to. Because again, he doesn't want to go around promising like everyone safety, because then nobody's going to believe it. So he needs to figure out like, who can I potentially get? So Nicole, of course, suggests Enzo and Cody, the other two members of the core four. So Nicole's like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to Cody right now for you. So Nicole does go up to the HOH room to talk to Cody and Enzo. And again, it seems like she actually does want Kevin to stay. She's trying to like feel this out and see if she can make it happen. So Nicole says, guys, I think that Tyler and others have David. Like, I don't know that he would be a number for our group. So she says, Kevin is desperate at this point. If we keep him, we can tell him, like, you're not allowed to nominate us for, meaning Nicole, Cody, Enzo, and Danny. And she's asking them, like, what do you think about that? Like, can we make that work? And Cody says, no. He thinks that if Kevin wins HOH, he's just going to go ahead and nominate whoever he wants. Like, it doesn't matter what deals he makes. So Nicole's like, well, I would make him say vocally to the house, like, who his targets are in front of everybody. And then she's asking Cody, why don't you want to keep him? And Cody says, because of everything that led up to this. And he says, Kevin is good at the game. David is not. And Nicole says, yeah, but Kevin wants to work with me, Danny, and Enzo. So, like, we just need to make sure that he's good with you as well. And Nicole says, I don't trust David at all. I know that he's your boy, but I've been hearing that David would put me up on the block. Yeah, that's why Cody wants to keep David, to go after the people that he doesn't want to go after himself. So Cody says, I don't trust David either. He's not my boy. He's clueless. He's lost. And that's why Cody wants to keep David. So Nicole says, all right, well, I at least wanted to try because we need another number going into next week. Like, yes, they're in the committee. They have like everyone behind them, but like they're going to have to start going after each other. So they're going to need these like outside people to be numbers for their smaller group. So Cody says, that's great and all. It's a great idea. But Kevin is pitching the same thing to everyone. Yeah, kind of. So Nicole's like, okay, forget it. You're right. Like, we'll keep David, whatever. And Enzo's like, don't worry. David is not going to win HOH. So you don't need to worry about that. Can we please get a David HOH? Please, something. Give us something. So then a little later, David and Kevin were chatting in the lounge, and David asks, how are you feeling? And Kevin says, well, I just remembered on Housewives, somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked like Dorinda how she's doing, and she's like, not well, bitch, or like something like that. I don't know. But anyway, Kevin says, everyone is telling me that they still need to talk to other people and compare notes. So they're not really giving me like straight up answers besides Memphis, right? So Kevin says, I'm still under the assumption that you are safe and I'm going home. Yes. He says nothing has upgraded or downgraded my perspective on that. So David's like, all right, well, if that is the case and I'm the one staying, would you be willing to give me anything, like any information that will decrease the chance of me going up on the block again and again and again and again? And Kevin says, yeah, of course. I still got to talk to Enzo first and see like if I'm actually done or if there's like any chance of me staying before I like spill all this tea. So that's nice. But as the day goes on, it's getting later and later. Everybody's realizing, hey, there's probably not going to be a surprise like live eviction show tonight. It's getting pretty late in the East Coast, right? I mean, a couple of people even like got all dressed up and ready as if they were going to like have a live show, but didn't happen. So I think a few of them were kind of disappointed because they got all hyped up for it and then it didn't happen. But things calmed down significantly after that big rush, that big time rush. So Danny and Nicole had a little check-in in the comics bedroom. And Nicole says David has not really campaigned to her since before the POV ceremony. Yeah, because he's coming after you. So he's not going to be making you any promises. But Danny feels like when David talks to her, he just tells her what she wants to hear. Yes. And she says when they talked before, he tried to blame like everything on Davon, and she's not buying it. So Nicole says, I don't trust David. But what are you going to do, right? If our alliance wants to keep David, there's not much we can do at this point. So Danny says if David wins the HOH, we're just going to have to push to him that Memphis wanted to backdoor him, which is true. That was the plan until Tyler won POV and was like, no, not doing that. But I don't think that that's going to make a difference telling David that, because he is pretty set on, I think, going after the girls. So Danny is also hoping that, like, David and Cody are close so that they'll have some sort of pull with David if he were to win HOH. David is way closer to Tyler, so that's who he's going to be talking to, not Cody. All right. So then Danny brings up, hey, I've noticed that Enzo like never talks game with me anymore. Yeah, because he wants you out and he doesn't trust you. But Danny thinks that it's because Enzo is clueless in the game and doesn't really have a strategy. Nicole is agreeing with this, but I feel like Danny early on talked like a lot of game with Enzo. So like she knows he's not an idiot. So if that game talk stops, she should probably be picking up on like he is talking game, just not with me. So that should be a huge red flag. But she thinks that he's just kind of like oblivious. Ooh. All right. So later, Kevin was talking to the cameras in the lounge, and he's talking to his husband specifically and saying like, I don't think I have the votes. There would have to be a miracle for me to stay this week. It's looking really bleak at this point. So he says this week feels different than the other times that he's been up on the block. He says Memphis told me flat out that he's not voting for me. And he's taking that as a sign that, like, for Memphis to say that, Memphis, who has been after David this whole time, that probably means that they're planning on dragging David to the end and then cutting him like right at the end. So he's not feeling good about that. Enzo told him that he won't do it unless he gets the thumbs up from Cody. And Kevin says there's such a slim chance of Cody giving the thumbs up, so that's not looking good. He gets the feeling that Nicole is just like patronizing him for his jury vote. But I gotta say again, it seems like she genuinely does want him to stay and feels like Kevin would be better for her game, but she's not going to go against Cody. She's not going to do that without his approval, and it's just not going to happen. So Kevin says he thinks that Danny would vote for him to stay, but one person is not enough. You know, you need more than that. So he says this is all basically coming down to Cody, which does seem to be the case, because I think there could be that chance, or I mean, there would be that chance that maybe Danny, Nicole, and Enzo would go against Tyler, Memphis, and Christmas if that support was there from Cody, but it's not. So it's not going to happen. But Kevin is saying, like, I tried really hard. I didn't give up, and I hope everybody sees that. And we do, or at least I do. I feel like he's been putting in the work, but he's just, like, kind of running into a wall. There's nothing he can do at this point. So then Kevin starts talking about what a terrible experience this season has been for him. And that just makes me so sad. Oh, it makes me so sad. So, yeah. Last night, more Cody and Enzo game chat. Not like a ton of new stuff there, but they did decide if Nicole wins HOH, they would rather have her target Tyler over Memphis. Before, they were pretty much saying Memphis, but now they're saying Tyler. I feel like she might do that anyway, because Nicole has wanted Tyler out for a long time. She does not trust him. I could totally see her targeting Tyler over Memphis. But they feel like Memphis really wants to go to the end with them. And they do not feel as confident that Tyler does. They don't feel like they're his number ones. So also, like, if Nicole were to win and get Tyler out, that would split up Tyler and Christmas. So that would be good. So yeah, they're kind of cooling off on Tyler a little bit and heating up on Memphis. And one last thing from last night, Kevin and Enzo stayed up super late chatting in the have not room. It was mostly personal stuff, real life stuff. But Kevin did ask Enzo to talk to Cody again for him, kind of advocate for him, and to let Cody know that Kevin means it when he says that he'll have their backs. So today, Enzo did talk to Cody. He was like, yeah, Kevin was campaigning to me, blah, blah, blah. But they agree that Kevin's got to go. He's just better at this game than David, and they do not want to keep him around. It's a bummer. Not that I want David to go either. It sucks either way. But yeah, tomorrow is the eviction, the triple eviction. There's been lots of speculation about how it's going to go down. I'm not even sure how it's going to go down. I'm assuming it's not going to be Big Brother Canada style, where they have 3 nominees and 2 of them go, along with, of course, the first eviction, because I feel like if it's 2 hours, if it's 2 hours, then they're going to go through a full, like, round of competitions and everything.
Double.
Yeah, right? So I feel like it would be, unfortunately, Kevin's eviction, and then, 2 full evictions after that. Yeah, 2 cycles after that. So it should be interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Right, Boba?
He said, don't you talk to me.
Oh,
don't you address me. Yeah, it's because we have donuts.
Okay, so I want to thank you. I want to thank you all so much for watching. You guys are amazing. And I want to thank all of our super chatters, as always, because we couldn't do this without you guys. So, Anita Starr, thank you so much.
Any relation to Anita Vito?
Anita Vito. We need to see. I really hope he brings out Anita Vito tonight.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Thank you so much, Anita. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Indie Girl, thank you so much. Susan Pengili, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but thank you so much for the support. Adley Bruges, thank you so much. Michael Neal, thank you so much. And Michael asked, could you give a happy birthday shout out? Yes, I could. Happy birthday to Amy Neal.
Happy birthday, Amy.
Yes, hope your day is amazing, Amy.
Not just her day, week, month, year, and lifetime of birthday happiness.
You sound like friends right now.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Michael, and happy birthday again to Amy. And thank you to M. Murray COJ.
Yeah.
So generous every day. You guys are amazing. And that's all we got today. That's it.
We couldn't do it without you.
Yes. So we will be back for tonight's episode recap. OTEV. Apparently the competition was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
I could use a laugh.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they changed it up this season. But we said we got to go. So, woo! We'll see you guys later. And until then, much love.